We're looking here at a Xuande Markham period cloisonné covered jar. It's decorated on the outside by dragon chasing flaming pearl amongst clouds, and the form itself is made out of bronze but covered with tiny wires that create cells into which glass pastes have filled the gaps. This design is called cloisonné. For our exhibition, this object is at the heart of the court section and represents the finest craftsmanship for objects made for the imperial court. It's decorated with the dragon, which of course in the Ming dynasty becomes a symbol of the emperor, together with its 5 claws, and it really is a centrepiece for the court section. The court section itself looks at the imperial courts, but also at the princely courts, with objects made from all over China, as well as objects made within the palace. This particular piece is one of only 2 in the world. It's made between 1425 and 36. The other pair to it is in the Pierre Uldry collection at the Rietberg in Switzerland. It's very typical of early 15th century cloisonné because it's peppered with tiny little holes in the cloisonné, which are a result of gases escaping through the glass during the firing process. It's very, very difficult to create something like this because you have to make sure that the temperature isn't so hot that it melts the metal wires and the metal body, but it's hot enough to fuse the glass pastes. It was produced probably for the Forbidden City, for the Xuande Emperor, under the observation of a eunuch-run craft agency. On one side it has the standard 6-character inscription saying it was made for the Xuande Emperor, and on the other side it says that it was made in the Yuyongjian by one of the 12 directorates run by eunuchs for the production of court objects in the early 15th century. It is extraordinarily rare because of its large size and impressive design, and as I say, 2 were made originally. The jar itself came through the Jimmy Risco collection, and he was an engineer who we purchased the jar from, I think in the 1950s. And the other comes from a collection of a Swiss collector called Pierre Uldry. We have no idea how they left China originally. They would have come into the art market probably in the early 20th century. An early Spanish ambassador to Samarkand described goods from Cathay, which is China, and described them as the finest in the world. And I think when you look at this cloisonné covered jar, you can understand what that early ambassador meant. Nowhere else in the early 15th century could produce such extraordinary pieces as this.